diary, wrapped in plastic. Hey, night listener. Tonight, we enter the shadows, the kind that linger between floorboards, the kind that echo when you're alone. The streetlights outside flicker like nervous eyelids. Rain taps against the window, steady as a lie rehearsed too many times. You swear someone's footsteps are matching yours just a beat behind, always just out of reach. If this story found you, maybe it's because you've been followed too. So, before we vanish into this mystery, like the video and subscribe only if you can handle the truth buried beneath the lies. Tell me, where are you listening from? And are you more drawn to the truth, the thrill, or the justice? Now lock your doors, take a deep breath, and follow me into the dark. You never meant to go back there. The crawl space beneath your late uncle's farmhouse, the one you helped sell after his sudden death, the one you told yourself was just a slab of wood and dust. But here you are, kneeling in the dark, with a flashlight between your teeth, choking on insulation, fluff, and old memories. You saw something from the vent. Not a rat, not wiring, a corner of plastic wrap, sticking out from the floor joist like a confession, begging to be read. It takes effort to pull free. Whatever's inside is heavy, square, familiar in shape. You unroll the layers, clear plastic, yellow tape, a shredded grocery bag, then a diary, hardbound, leather, faded maroon with a clasp that isn't locked, but feels like it should be. You don't open it yet. Your hand trembles, not from fear, but something deeper, recognition, as if your fingers remember touching it before. The light flickers. You flip it open. The first page is dated 3 years ago to the day. No name, just this. They keep asking where the bodies are, but nobody ever asks where the story begins. You read on, describing a night, a cabin, a man watching from the trees. Except you've never been to that cabin. Right. You turn the page. The ink is smeared, but one word is clear, written over and over again in the margins. Remember. The smell of pine needles hits you, but there are no trees here. What if you're not remembering? What if you're rereading something you wrote and made yourself forget? You set the book down and look at your hands. There's ink under your nails, fresh. You didn't bring a pen. Not tonight. You've read this before, haven't you? The diary doesn't blink, but it watches you. That's how it feels. Like flipping each page invites something old back into the room. Not ghosts' versions of you with different intentions, different truths, same handwriting. You sit cross-legged on the wooden floor. The crawl space air tastes metallic, like wet keys and cold sweat. You open to the second entry. I watched her walk down the gravel path. She didn't look back. That's how I knew she wasn't scared yet. You don't recognize the scene. Not fully, but something in you itches like deja vu dressed in blood-stained clothing. She asked me if I was alone. I said yes, I wasn't. You flip the page. Then again, every word sharpens your pulse. There's no name yet, but the entries are specific, detailed, too detailed. A scar on her wrist, a chipped tooth, a music box that played something too slow to be a lullaby, and then a drawing, hand-sketched, black ink, a hand, dangling a key. You stare, because that hand is wearing your high school class ring, same scratch across the gemstone from when you fell on the bleachers junior year. You never told anyone, and yet there it is, drawn inside a diary you never wrote. Or did you? You rifle through your bag. No pens, no notebooks, just your flashlight, your phone dead, and this thing. You turn back to the first page. This time, the ink seems bolder, like it's Reactivating. A new line bleeds through the margin. This is not the first time you've read me. You snap the book shut. The crawl space creaks. Something shifts behind you just out of light. You whip the flashlight around. Beam slicing shadows. Nothing but the plastic the diary was wrapped in. It's gone, like it was never there. And on the floor, a new object, a small brass key, still warm. Its tag reads Box 16, Storage Locker. The handwriting matches the diary. You stare at the key, and a sentence whispers through your head. Uninvited. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. The name. He shouldn't know. You leave the crawl space just before dawn. The farmhouse walls feel too thin now, as if they've been listening the whole time, not creaking, just breathing. You don't speak, you don't eat, you just drive toward a self-storage lot tucked behind a half-shuttered gas station where the vending machines still hum, even when the power's out. Locker 16 is at the back, second row, under a dying security light that flickers in triplets. On, off, off, on, off, off. Your fingers hesitate at the lock, because it's not just about what you'll find. It's about whether you already know. The brass key fits smoothly, too smoothly, like it's been used before. The door groans upward, inside dust, silence, a folding chair, and a cardboard file box labeled Fern Cole. You freeze. You haven't heard that name in 9 years. Not since Fern disappeared the summer after your first teaching job. A missing person case that never gained traction. No ransom, no body, just an abandoned sedan and a pair of shoes placed too neatly on the bank of Split Lake. You remember giving a statement. You remember thinking she wasn't supposed to be real because Fern was someone you only knew in passing. A substitute, a whisper. But the file in the box, it's full of photos, most of them taken from angles you never saw. Her house, her mailbox, a gas station where she filled up the night she vanished, and one photo of you standing at the lake, looking at the shoes. You don't remember anyone taking it. You turn over the picture. There's writing on the back. You lied about how long you stood there. Your ears ring. The next thing you notice is the tape recorder beside the file. Still warm. You press play. A voice crackles. Not yours, not hers, but familiar, like a version of your voice filtered through sleep paralysis. You watched her go into the water. You didn't stop her. And when she screamed, you wrote it down. You ripped the tape out, throw it, but the box is already whispering something else. A name etched into the cardboard seam. The next name, Nora Dre. You sit down on the folding chair. Try to breathe, because you remember Nora too. Barely. And now the diary has made her real again. You open it. New entry. Same handwriting. Today's date. She was the second. She didn't deserve it either. But you didn't correct the record. The last line of the page is underlined 3 times. You're the only one who doesn't remember who you were. The photograph. You never took to. You don't drive home. You drive somewhere you shouldn't remember. The address comes back like a bruise faded, then blooming beneath your ribs. An old rental off Oak Ridge Lane, a place you swore was condemned after the winter floods. But here it is, still standing, barely, as if the house knew you'd return. You park across the street. The clouds sag low, the sky a dull bruise, the neighborhood dead quiet. You feel eyes that aren't there yet. You take the diary with you. You bring nothing else. No flashlight this time. Just the ache in your chest that grows louder every time you lie to yourself. The front door isn't locked. It opens before you touch it. Inside dust, rot, carpet soaked with mold memories, and a faint scent of something you once loved but can't name, like burning pine or melted crayons. You step into the hallway. It's wallpapered with old magazine pages, quotes underlined, some scratched out. The things we bury us right back. The camera doesn't lie, but it doesn't tell the whole truth either. Your foot lands on something solid beneath the rug. You lift it. A floorboard marked with an X, because of course it's marked. You pry it up. Inside, a single photograph, Polaroid, yellowing edges, handwritten note on back. You flip it over first. I didn't take this, but I saw it developed. Then you look. It's an image of you, standing in the woods, mid-turn, like you just noticed someone calling your name. Your expression, fear, recognition, guilt. You don't remember this moment. You don't remember being photographed. You don't remember this jacket you're wearing. But the background, that's Split Lake. And on the far right edge, a hand, Fern's hand. Same bracelet she wore that summer. Same scar she got from a barbed wire fence after skipping school. You know, because she told you, even though officially you two barely spoke. So how do you know that scar? And how did someone else take this photo? The diary slips from your hand, lands on the wood with a thud. It opens to a page that wasn't there before. It reads, "This photograph doesn't exist in the official record, but you kept it anyway, because it was proof of something worse than guilt permission." You sit back, your hands shake. The wall across from you has cracked open, revealing insulation and rotted beams, written across the stud in permanent marker. The mirror cracked the day you stopped saying no, and now you remember. Not everything, just that day, the moment Fern screamed your name and you walked away. Not because you were scared, but because you thought someone else would handle it. He talks like he knows you. You don't remember walking out of the house, but you remember running. Your shoes hit the sidewalk in stuttering, breathless rhythm. The photograph tucked into your back pocket. The diary cradled like a limb you forgot you lost. It talks to you now, not in voices, but in tone. Like each page breathes your pulse before you do. You sit in your car and don't start it. Just breathe. Then the phone buzzes. You don't remember charging it. You don't remember turning it on. But it lights up. Unknown number. Text only. Check page 33. Don't skip ahead this time. You hesitate. Then open the diary. Page 33 is blank at first. Then the ink emerges like it's rising from beneath the paper. A single sentence: "I liked pretending to be you." Your breath stops because you recognize the phrasing. You've used it before. In a college writing class, years ago. A critique of a short story you didn't even remember submitting. And below the sentence, a signature. Not yours, but one that used to appear beside notes on your essays. Anonymous, encouraging. You always wondered who left them. Now you realize it was you, or someone playing you, pretending, writing back. You flip the page. Now there's more text. She never screamed at first. That's what made it easy. But Nora looked me in the eye and said, "You're no him. You're wearing him." You drop the book. Your chest stutters. Wearing him. What did that mean? You flip back through older entries. All the I's, all the me's. What if they weren't you? What if someone had been writing this diary as you, like a role, a costume, a confession, without the confessor? The page blurs. Another line fades in. You're reading a part I wrote for you. Don't let the ending surprise you. A new photo falls from between the pages. This one is of a classroom. Back row. Empty desk. Your desk. But it's labeled at the bottom. Scene of disappearance number 3. You stare. And that's when you hear it. A voice. From the back seat. Low. Warm. Familiar. You were always better at writing fiction. You spin around. No one there. But the seatbelt is stretched. Indented. As if someone just stepped out. And the diary. The last page is now dated tomorrow. You haven't written it, but someone else already has. You visit the forest. Again, the trees haven't changed. Even after all this time, they still bend the same way, like they're bowing to something you can't see. Not wind, not weather, something buried. You shouldn't be here. Split Lake Forest. Preserve closed to the public after the fires last spring. But you remember the break in the fence. You remember the unmarked trail where your flashlight flickers. Even with new batteries, you remember exactly where you're going. But you don't remember why. The diary's tucked under your jacket, pressed to your side like a rib. Each step crunches leaves. Each breath feels borrowed. You arrive at the clearing. The one from the photo, the one from your nightmares. There's no bench anymore, just moss, broken glass, and a rusted bike chain half buried near the roots of a crooked birch. You kneel, brush away the dirt, and there, etched into the bark like a scream, someone tried to swallow. You said you'd come back for me. Not signed, but the scar matches Fern's bracelet. You hear a sound behind you soft, like breath caught in someone else's throat. You turn. Nothing. But now the air smells like copper. You pull out the diary. Today's entry is already written. Not in ink, in ash. The letters are smeared, as if burned and reassembled by someone who knew exactly what to say. This is where the first version ended. You left the shoes. You watched the lake swallow her. Then you rewrote the memory. But she didn't drown. She followed. You glance at the lake. Still. Too still. You step toward it. Just before your boot hits the bank, you stop because something's there. A glint. You reach down. A locket. Open it. Inside a miniature photo of you and Fern smiling. Together, except you've never taken that photo. You drop it, stumble back, because you were remembering something again, not a scream this time, a question. What if you didn't just fail to stop it? What if you helped? You breathe in the silence, but it scratches your lungs, because it's not silent. There's humming, a melody, low, slow, off-key, like a music box. You spin around. Nothing but trees. The diary flips open in the wind. A single phrase now covers 2 whole pages. Large, jagged, scratched like claw marks. Everyone lies. Even you. You close the book, and behind you footprints, leading from the lake toward you. There's no report of the missing. You don't drive home. You drive to the sheriff's office, because some truths need confirmation, even when you are not sure which version of yourself is asking for them. You enter through the back, where the light flickers like a nervous habit. The receptionist looks up, startled. Her eyes narrow like she's trying to place you. You give a name, Fern Cole. She blinks, types, clicks. Sorry, nothing in the system. You try again. Nora. Dre. She pauses. A longer search. She tilts her head. You sure about the spelling? You repeat it. Slowly. Still nothing. No reports. No open cases. Not even a cold file. You ask to speak to the sheriff. He emerges from his office a few minutes later. Older now. Lines deeper. but the same mustache, same badge. He remembers you. Didn't expect to see you again. He says, you left town right after your uncle's funeral. What's this about? You mentioned the diary. Fern, Nora, the key, the photo. He listens, doesn't interrupt, but his face doesn't react. Not once. When you finish, he sighs, then says, we never had a missing person by that name. Either of them. You press him. Harder now. You swear there was a photo, a police report, something. He shakes his head. I've worked every case in this county for 22 years. If you're chasing ghosts, I can't help you. You stand halfway out the door. He adds, funny thing though, you stop. About 10 years ago, I did get a call from someone asking the same questions you are now. Said they'd found a diary. Same name on it. Fern Cole. Your skin prickles. Asked what I knew about her. When I said nothing, they said, he looks at you. Finally, they said, you wouldn't. He erased her. You stare, frozen. Who was it, you ask? He shrugs. No name, but they sounded like you. Outside, you sit in your car, hands shaking. You open the diary. New page, fresh ink. The system doesn't forget. It just re-indexes. That's what you paid for. Remember, there's a copy of a receipt tucked into the diary now. A payment made in cash to a name that doesn't exist for data removal and psychological redaction. The signature, yours, but written in a hand that leans left. You're right-handed. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. The voice, message, you never sent. The voicemail plays on its own. You don't press anything. Your phone vibrates once at 3:12 a.m., then goes black. 10 seconds later, a soft ping. You unlock it. Hesitant. There it is. 1. New voice message from known duration 047. You hesitate. Then press play. Static first, a long pause, then your voice. But not from today. It's your voice from years ago, younger, faster, unsure. Hey, I don't know if you'll even get this. It's been a while. They told me not to reach out. But I saw your bracelet at the lake. It was where we left it. And the shoes, they weren't hers. Were they God? I think I let it happen. I think I let you happen. The message cuts. Your throat tightens. You don't remember recording that or sending it. You check the audio file's metadata. Created date, August 12th, 2016. The same day Fern disappeared. You look back at the diary. It's open again. You didn't open it, but the ink is wet. You said you'd wait for her. You didn't. So she left a message of her own. You flipped the page. A drawing this time. Not a sketch. A map. You recognize the layout, a stretch of back roads south of the lake. There's a red X near a turnoff you forgot existed. Next to it, voice box. Below that, what she didn't say is louder than what you pretended to hear. Your hand drifts to your chest. You feel it now. Not panic, not fear. Recognition, like an echo you've been living inside. You drive, because of course you do. It's always been motion that drowns memory. The back roads twist like veins, pulsing under the night sky. You find the turnoff. It leads to an old ranger's outpost, burned out, abandoned, graffiti on the door. She screamed here. No one heard. Inside, a box, metal. Label reads, recovered messages unclaimed. Your name is written in Sharpie on a yellow tag tied to the latch. Inside, a dozen cassettes, each labeled with a date. each one marked with the name Fern, Nora, Rachel, Mallory, girls you've almost remembered. You load one into the portable player next to the box. Press play. It's her voice, soft, measured, not angry, just tired. I told him to stop writing me like a memory. I told him I was still alive, but he liked the ending better. You drop the player, step back. Your hands tremble as a new line etches itself into the wood beside the box, as if carved by someone who already knew you'd be here. You weren't the killer, you were the narrator. And the worst part, you wrote her out, because it was easier than facing what she might have said. The draft you never published. Back home, or what passes for it, but check your old laptop. It still boots, barely. Dust clings to the keyboard like it's remembering what you typed. You search your documents folder. Nothing labeled Fern, nothing labeled diary, nothing obvious. But then you remember the pseudonym you used in grad school, Halden Marr. You hated it, but you used it anyway. You search for that. One file pops up. Stillwater, final, docs. You don't remember writing it, but the title sends a chill into your teeth. Stillwater, Fern's hometown. You open the file. It's a manuscript, half finished. Third person, present tense. And it's about a man, a quiet man, a substitute teacher in a rural town with a foggy past and a fixation on a student who vanishes. You scroll. The names are wrong, but the details are too exact. The shoes at the lake, the bracelet, the voice message that never quite reaches its destination. You pause at a section midway through. He watched her climb into the water. She didn't struggle. She just looked at him like she knew he wouldn't save her. Not because he couldn't, because he was already rewriting the moment. You slam the laptop shut. Your heart stutters because you remember this line, not from fiction, but from your own thoughts. A memory you turned into metaphor. A metaphor you turned into denial. You open the diary. The next page is blank, then fills before your eyes. It was easier to draft a version where you were innocent, but innocence isn't the same as absence. Another page slides out from the back of the diary. A printed email sent to an editor at a now-defunct small press. Subject line, submission, Stillwater, pseudonym, Halden Marr. No body text, just the manuscript attached. But the email address is yours, and it's dated 2 days after Fern disappeared. You try to click the date. It doesn't respond. But now the diary is shaking, like it's resisting being held. You let it drop. It opens to a page that simply reads, "Where do you think she got the idea to vanish?" There's a photo taped below it. It's of your laptop screen, the manuscript open, time-stamped with your IP address. In the reflection, behind you, someone is standing, face obscured, but their hand wearing the bracelet. The same bracelet you saw at the lake. The same one now burned into your memory like a branding mark. You blink, and now, the words written under the photo. She didn't vanish. You edited her out. The candle that wouldn't go out. You don't light it, but it burns. A single white candle, short and warped, flickering on your nightstand like it's been waiting for you to notice. It wasn't there this morning. You know this because nothing in this room has changed since you moved back. You stare at the flame. It leans, then straightens, almost like it's breathing. The diary rests on your lap. You don't open it. You don't need to, because the candle's flame pulses in rhythm with your heartbeat now. You reach toward it. Your fingers hover an inch from the heat, and just before you touch it, a whisper, low, ragged, From nowhere, you burned the wrong pages. The flame shrinks, then flares, and the smoke, it curls into words. They hang in the air, faint and fading. You remember her story, but only because you made it yours. You blink hard. The words vanish. You open the diary. Page 48. New ink. Different hand. Fire doesn't erase truth. It just makes it harder to look at. A folded piece of paper slips from the spine. It's stained at the edges. Smells like old smoke and iron. Unfolded. It reads, Funeral Mallory Gray. Age 15. Cause of death, undetermined. Witness withdrawn. File closed 2000 to 2011. Below that, scribbled in different pen, still not the first or the last. You recognize Mallory's name. You shouldn't, because she wasn't in the story, not in the manuscript, not in the police records, not in any of the therapy sessions you bailed on. But she was in your freshman lit class, shy, always drawing spirals in the margins of a notebook. You flip the diary again. New page, new message. You asked her about Fern once. She said, they always come back, but they're quieter. Your phone buzzes. One new voicemail. No number. You press play. Mallory's voice. He asked me to describe the flame. I told him it looked like it wanted to scream. The message ends. You look up. The candle's flame is now blue. It illuminates your room like a morgue drawer we've opened too long. You reach for it again. This time, your fingertip grazes the edge of the fire. No burn, just a whisper. You don't get to forget us. The diary snaps shut by itself. The candle doesn't go out. It only grows brighter. The yearbook with too many blank faces. You find it buried behind old tax folders and outgrown jackets, your senior yearbook. The spine's cracked. The cover half peeled, but your name is etched into the bottom corner in silver Sharpie. You sit on the cold basement floor. The silence here hums like static in a dead channel. You flip to page 112. Student clubs, lit circle, drama, journalism. You remember none of it, but your photo's there, front row, middle seat, leaning forward with a crooked grin, like you're trying to outrun the camera's eye. You scan the names underneath. Fern's isn't there, Mallory's either, but you're sure they were in the club. You remember Mallory sketching in the margins of her script. You remember Fern rehearsing in the empty gym after hours. And then, page 114, memorial page. You don't remember this page being here. There's only one photo. A girl sitting under a tree, face obscured. Caption, not everyone makes it to the last act. No name, no quote, no year. You flip to the back. A slip of paper falls out. Old, yellowed, torn at the edge like it was ripped from a notebook in a rush. On one side, Mr. Aholden. Do they know about the edits? Or are we all just characters in your drafts? You feel your stomach drop, because that's what Fern called you once. Not your real name, your pen name. You told her in confidence, said it as a joke. She didn't laugh. She said, it sounds like a name someone gives a ghost. You check the staff list. No Halden Marr listed. Of course not, because he never existed. But you flip again. Page 173 now. Senior essays. Yours is gone. In its place, essay withdrawn by author request. You didn't withdraw it. At least, not that you remember. You pull the diary from your bag. It's already open to a new page. You don't remember writing it, but it's in your handwriting. If they can't prove the people were real, then the memories don't need to be erased, just redrafted. You flip back to the yearbook photo, the tree. You've seen it before. It's behind the ranger station. Same warped trunk, same crooked shadow. Only now, It has a plaque beneath it. The ink starts to bleed through the yearbook page, as if the words were written underneath all along. You buried her twice, once in dirt, once in story. You shut the book, but the photo on the memorial page, the shadow has moved. Now it's looking directly at you. The mirror, with the memory delay. It starts slow. You brush your teeth at night and glance into the mirror, but your reflection doesn't move in sync. There's a split-second delay. You lift your hand. It lifts a moment later. You blink. It blinks too late. You lean closer, squinting into your own eyes, like there's something behind them trying to signal out. Then the mirror fogs up. But you didn't run hot water, and the fog it swirls against the glass like it's exhaling. Then something rights itself in the condensation. I remember what you said that night. You step back, hard, knocking into the towel rack, heart slamming your ribs like it's trying to escape. You swipe the message away with a shaky hand, but it doesn't smudge. It lingers, carved into the fog like someone wrote it from the other side. You rush to your bedroom. The diary is waiting. It's not where you left it. It's open on the windowsill, wind flipping its pages like impatient fingers. Page 94. There's a version of you that told the truth, but that version didn't survive the rewrite. A Polaroid is taped beneath the passage. You, in front of a cabin you don't recognize, your hand on someone's shoulder. The person's face is scratched out violently, but their wrist, that bracelet again, this time it's charred at the edges, and in your other hand, a match. The caption written in marker at the bottom, first draft ending. You flip the page. A name you haven't seen before, Rachel Wynne. Then an address, written once, then again, as if you kept forgetting it. It's in your hometown. You don't remember her, but something about the way the name curls like smoke makes your chest tighten. You search your phone contacts. No Rachel Wynne. You check your email inbox for sent messages. There 5 years ago. Subject about Fern. Body. You were right. The lake wasn't deep enough. I think I filled the rest with words. No response. But now there's a draft reply, time-stamped today. Unread. You called me fiction, but I bled. You open it fully. The screen glitches for a moment. Then the message updates itself. You edited the girls, but the mirror remembers. You return to the bathroom. The fog's gone now, but the reflection, still delayed. You smile. It doesn't. And then slowly, it smiles back. Too wide, too late. Like it knows what you did. And it's finally caught up. The apology. You never sent. It's 3:03 a.m. again. Every clock in the house clicks to it. Even the one you unplugged last week. You sit at your desk, hands poised over the keyboard, as if something is guiding them. Not memory, muscle, like your guilt grew its own nerves. You open a blank email, type, to Fern, coal at nowhere, comp, subject, I'm sorry you stopped. Your finger hovers over the period, then you delete it all. Because the truth is, you already sent the apology years ago. You find it in your sent folder, dated exactly 1 month after the diary was first discovered. No subject, no recipient address, just a body of text. I didn't mean to become the author, but the story was too quiet. I had to give it shape. You were supposed to come back. You were supposed to answer the last line. You scroll down, there's an attachment, recording final, wave. You hesitate, then double-click. The file opens in your audio editor, static first. Then her voice, Fern. He says he doesn't remember the lake, but I saw him carry the boots. I saw him write the headline before the story ended. You fast forward, the last 5 seconds. This isn't a confession. This is a recovery. Silence. Then, stop writing us. The waveform ends abruptly, but your hands won't leave the keyboard. The diary is open again, this time to a page that feels hot, like it's been burned, and the smoke never left. On it, apology isn't innocence. Regret is just a second draft of denial. And below that, something new. Your name, but in a handwriting. Then crossed out, replaced with one word, author. You hear something outside, a soft rustle, footsteps that don't match the wind. You move to the window. No one's there, except your mailbox is open. Inside a single envelope. No stamp, no address. You tear it open. One sentence. They never found the bodies because you buried them in the story structure. And on the back, the reader always finds the ending you fear most. The ending you didn't write. You're running now. Not metaphorically. Your shoes hit pavement with the rhythm of guilt. The diary's tucked under your arm, its pages fluttering like a trapped bird. It pulses against your ribs with each breath. You don't remember deciding where to go, but your feet do. You pass the old school, the burned-out ranger station, the lake, still, cold, waiting, and then the cabin, the one from the Polaroid. It looks the same, right down to the warped steps and the red door that sags like a secret. Inside, dust covers everything, but the smell is newer. Pine, ink, and something metallic, like memory turned sharp. On the table, a typewriter. Your name is carved into the side. Not your real name, Halden Marr. You approach. Each step echoes like punctuation. You sit. The ribbon's fresh. The paper is blank, but the keys are already warm. You reach forward. Press one. Just one. It types itself. You didn't lose the story. You hid it. The rest of the page fills in. Line after line. Paragraph after paragraph. Your hands aren't moving, but the machine types exactly what you remember never writing. Fern's voice, Mallory's sketchbook, the diary in reverse, your edits, the missing photo. Each moment lands with a weighted thud, like the truth finally found its narrator again. Then, the final line, the ending you refuse to write is the one that refuses to leave. You reach to tear out the page, but it's already gone, not pulled, removed. As if something took it before you even tried. The typewriter begins again, this time in a different font. Handwriting. Her handwriting. Fern's. What if I told you the ending already happened? What if you're the epilogue? You look to the walls. New photographs. Girls with half-remembered faces. Some scratched out. Some smiling. All looking at you. You stumble backward. The diary slides from your grip, hits the floor, opens to the back cover. There's a note, barely visible beneath the fabric lining. You peel it away. Underneath, a thumb drive. You plug it into your laptop. One folder, unpublished. Inside, two files. One named ending v1.docx. The other, ending v2's you. Docx. You open the second one. It's written in your style, but you didn't write it. The first line. He thought he could write over reality, but the story remembered itself. The second line. Characters don't die when the book ends. They die when the writer stops listening. The third blank. Because it's waiting. Waiting for you. The message. Hidden in margins. You print the file, not to read it to see it. To hold the weight of words on paper, rather than pixels and ghosts. You lay each page out on the floor, like a detective sorting crime scene photos. There are 78 pages. You count them twice. On the third count, there are 79. Page 47 wasn't there before. It's handwritten, not typed, ink smudged, corners curled, the paper too warm. The message begins. If you're reading this, then you're finally close enough. Close enough to what you stare harder. The margins are filled with tiny scroll notes that don't line up with the text. Half sentences, fragments. Not your memory, hers. Stop deleting the second girl. The photograph wasn't a prop. You scan faster now. Each margin line starts to fill in like blood-finding veins. Your breath stutters. One note repeats. Again and again, characters can suffer too. And then, a different hand adds beneath it, especially when they're based on real ones. The page blurs because your eyes are wet. And you didn't realize it. You flipped to the back. On page 78 typed like the rest. The text stops abruptly, mid-sentence. The author didn't mean to forget her name, but forgetting was safer than confess blank. Then, in the bottom right corner of the page, a symbol, drawn in red ink, a spiral. You've seen it before. Mallory's notebook, dozens of them, drawn in the corners, over and over. You pull out your phone, search your photo, library for Mallory. There's only one result, a scan of a yearbook note she gave you. They always write about us after, but never to us. Underneath, another spiral, this time drawn with shaky hands and smudged mascara. You close your eyes, and the voice in your head speaks in a tone that isn't yours. You never let them be real, because if they were real, so was what happened. You hear the typewriter again. It's typing on its own. You approach it. It finishes the sentence. You couldn't. Then confess that fiction was the only place he felt safe burying the truth. You reach to stop it, but it types again. We never asked to be written, only to be remembered. You look down. The final page in the diary, now filled in. When you edit pain, you edit people, and we remember what you cut. The room that didn't exist on blueprints. It takes you hours to work up the nerve, but you return to the cabin. This time, not to write, to tear it apart. You bring the original floor plans downloaded from the county archives. Built 1956. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, no basement. You count the steps from the kitchen to the back wall, 12, but the blueprint shows 9. You knock, hollow. You press your hand against the far wall, pine wood soft from age. And then, behind a shelf you hadn't noticed before a seam, you pry it open. The panel shifts with a groan, like something waking up after years of silence. Behind it, a narrow staircase. Descending. You go down. Each step feels like descending through layers of your own denial. At the bottom, a small room, cinder block, 1 dangling light bulb, and the walls covered in pages, printed, typed, scribbled, taped together, some yellowed, some new, all of them pieces of your stories about them, but they're annotated in different colors, different hands. Some pages have lines crossed out with notes like, not what she said, she didn't smile here. You soften the scream, you move deeper. At the far wall, a bulletin board, photos, Fern, Mallory, Rachel, others you almost recognize, but whose names you never bothered to remember. Each photo has a red string pinned to a location on a map of your town. The lake, the school theater, the burned shed, your old bedroom window. In the center of the board, a copy of your unpublished manuscript. The title, now stamped in ink across the cover, Missing Voices. And beneath it, one phrase written in thick black marker, wrong author. You back away, knock over a box. Inside cassette tapes, labeled by year, 2011. Each labeled with a name, Fern, Rachel, Mallory, your name. Your hand trembles as you pick up the one marked 2012, unsent confession. You slide it into the nearby tape player. The hiss of old magnetic tape. Then your voice. If someone finds this, I want them to know I didn't plan it this way. I didn't mean to turn memory into fiction, but it was easier to be haunted by characters than by the real girls. I thought maybe if I wrote it well enough, the guilt would sound like closure. You stop the tape. You can't listen. Not yet. The diary is in your bag. It opens itself. This page is darker than the rest, like the ink bled through from some earlier, uglier draft. Rooms like this don't appear by accident. They are built by people who need a place to hide from what they know. And just beneath that, you always knew this room existed. You just didn't want it to be real. The letter, addressed to no one. You're back at your apartment. You haven't slept. The city hums through your window, a kind of mechanical heartbeat you no longer trust. The diary lies on your desk, still open to that pitch-black page. But something's changed. The ink is smearing. You touch it. It stains your fingertip like soot. Then the knock, soft, measured, 3 times. No one ever knocks on your door this late. You pause. Don't breathe. Another knock, quieter this time, but longer, dragging. You open the door. Nothing. Just an envelope taped to the frame, unmarked. You peel it open. Inside is a single sheet of thick, expensive paper, typed, neat, gold. To whom it may concern, you are receiving this letter because your name has appeared multiple times in records tied to unsolved cases from 2009 to 2010. These cases involve missing witnesses, damaged documentation, and redacted narratives. Our investigation has led us to a series of privately published manuscripts containing characters, locations, and phrases nearly identical to classified statements and diary entries from victims. As part of a quiet inquiry into narrative contamination and consent violations, you are being monitored for further output. Please seize all creative reinterpretations of unconfirmed events. Not every page is yours to write. Consider this your final editorial warning. No signature, no return address. You flip the page. There's a fingerprint. Not yours. Tiny, smudged, almost childlike. You check your hands. You've been shaking without knowing it. The diary flutters open again, this time to the first page. But it's not blank anymore. It has your real name at the top. Then, a sentence that wasn't there before. Once upon a time, he mistook witness for author. You slam it shut, toss it across the room. It lands on your laptop, which wakes itself. One file now sits on the desktop. It wasn't there before. Untitled Story 1. You click it. It opens into a document already 20 pages long. First line. He got the ending he deserved, not the one he wrote. You scroll to the bottom. There's a blinking cursor, waiting. Just beneath it, one final line slowly types itself, as if unseen hands are finishing your thought. And the silence, at last, belonged to the girls. The photograph that developed itself. You don't remember taking the picture, but there it is, sitting face up on your kitchen counter when you return from throwing the diary in the dumpster. A Polaroid, still damp at the edges, as if it had just finished developing. You pick it up, your hand outstretched, palm smeared with ink. On your wrist, Fern's bracelet. Only, it's not a memory. You know you've never worn that bracelet. But the timestamp burned into the bottom corner of the photo. It reads tomorrow. You flip it over. A short phrase in Fern's handwriting. Let it fade, and we all disappear. Your phone buzzes. Unknown number. No caller ID. You let it ring out. Then it buzzes again. A text message this time. Check the bathtub. No punctuation. No name. Your heart drops. You don't move right away because you already know what's in there. The same chill as that mirror delay. The same pressure in your chest that says someone else wrote this moment. But you go because you have to. Inside the bathtub, not blood, not a body, just photographs, dozens, maybe hundreds, developing in silence, edges curling, chemical scents thick in the air. Each photo contains the same subject. You, sleeping, writing, walking out of the lake. In one, your hand reaches toward the camera like you're trying to stop it, but there's no camera in sight. In another, you're standing at Mallory's grave. Only Mallory never had a grave. You never even told anyone she was gone. You sort through them, fast, then frantic. One photo stops you cold. It's Fern, smiling. Behind her, a chalkboard with a list of names, underlined. In red, Rachel Wynne. You look again. At the bottom of the board, who told the story before the author? One final image sticks to the tub floor. You peel it up. It's a close-up of the back of your head. You're typing. The screen reads, "They found his diary, but not the bodies. The perspective is impossible." It's the exact moment you're in now. You drop the photo. Your phone buzzes again. A voicemail this time. You listen. It's your voice. You wrote us wrong, but it's not too late to stop writing altogether. The line goes silent, and then, faintly, a girl's voice, one you haven't heard in years. But if you stop writing, who remembers us? The final draft. You never saved your laptop is open, but not to any file you recall creating. It's a clean manuscript window, centered perfectly. No title, no author, no cursor, just one sentence at the top. You remember it differently, but the story doesn't care. You try to close it. The command doesn't respond. The screen flickers, then expands, full screen. Now a second sentence appears. This is where they buried the truth in your version of events. Your hand trembles over the keyboard. You type back, "Who are you?" Nothing. Then, "We were characters until you made us convenient." A chill washes down your spine. You reach for the power button, but the screen brightens. A video begins playing. Grainy, old, security cam footage. A timestamp 2011 in 9/14. The frame shows the back of a library, deserted, until there you are. You're carrying a box. You walk to the dumpster, pause, look around, then toss the box inside. You watch yourself walk away. The video zooms in, artificially, enhancing the contents inside the dumpster. Inside the box, photographs, a diary, a cassette labeled Mallory. The screen fades to black. Text appears. Discarded doesn't mean erased. You stand abruptly. The air feels thinner now, like memory itself is watching you. You reach for the diary again. It's returned somehow, lying open on your desk. This time the ink is red. Pages you thought you'd read before are overwritten. Quotes from your own stories, but now annotated by someone else. "She wasn't crying here." You changed that. He didn't lie. You made him a liar. Mallory didn't die in the lake. She was buried in your third act. You flip to the back page. It's blank, except for one line. Freshly inked endings aren't written. They're confessed. You look up, and your laptop screen now mirrors the diary. Perfectly, line for line. You close the book, but the screen remains open. Then, one final message appears. "To remember us, you must write the version that hurts." And beneath it, a blinking cursor. Waiting, daring. You type one word. Okay. The manuscript begins to build itself, sentence after sentence. Not fiction, not plot, memory. The chapter you weren't supposed to find. You wake on the floor, the diary on your chest. It's heavier now. The kind of weight stories carry when they stop pretending to be made up. Your laptop screen is still glowing. The document has grown. Exactly 22,000 words. You didn't write them, not consciously, but every word aches in your fingertips like a bruise from inside the bone. You open the diary one last time. The final page is no longer blank. At the top, one phrase. This is the chapter they erased from you. Below it, your memory, not someone else's, not fiction. The night of the lake, the way the others screamed and you didn't, the way you turned your back as the fight escalated, the way you said nothing, not because you didn't care, but because you did too much and couldn't hold it. You weren't the killer, but you weren't a bystander either. You were the witness who edited the story until no one could tell who had hands in the water. There, in your own handwriting, I changed their names. I changed the order. I left out the photograph. I burned the letters. And then, a sentence you don't remember writing. I was afraid someone would write it for me. You stare at the last page. Then you notice a key taped to the bottom. Old, iron, with the number 4 etched into its side. It doesn't match your door. It doesn't match the cabin. But you know what it opens. Because some doors aren't real until you admit they always were. You look up. Your mirror has fogged over. 3 fingerprints drag down the center, then vanish. Your phone lights up. Unknown sender. One message. Now that you've remembered us, we can leave. And then, don't forget what you wrote. You hear footsteps outside. They fade. Not like someone walking away, like someone being let go. You glance at the diary. It's closing itself. The laptop screen fades to black. Only one line remains. The story ends when the author stops hiding.